Okay, good evening. Hi, everybody. So we've been talking a lot lately about everything that's happening in the company. And so before I go on, I just want you to type in the chat box. Up until this point, what has Isagenix meant to you thus far? Just a couple of words. Up until this point, what has being a part of this community, the products, whatever it is for you, what has it meant for you? So freedom, quality time, feeling home, stability, community. What else? What has it meant to you up until this point? Community, freedom. What else? What's one or two words you could describe? What has Isagenix meant to you up until this point? Focus, freedom, family, courage, community, helping other people. What else? What has it meant to you up until this point? Confidence, quality company, self-development. Okay. What else? What has it meant to you up until this point? Opportunity, growth, healthy living, learning something new, keeping you grounded, the opportunity, transformation. Okay. So up until this point, Isagenix has meant something to every single one of you on this call. And there are some things that have been happening inside the company of late that a lot of people are excited about. I'm one of those people. Eden's one of those people. A lot of you are excited about what's going on in the company, and with good reason. So I want to give you guys a little bit of perspective in that in the first 7 weeks since Marine Collagen launched, we've sold 5 million bottles of Marine Collagen Elixir, 5 million bottles. Now, what that equates to in total sales is $20 million in sales. So to help you understand just how massive that is, for those of you that, some of you may understand, what that means. With just one product, what that means is if we were to maintain this current pace of growth, which is highly unlikely, and the reason it's unlikely is because we will either grow on top of the current rate or we'll plateau a little bit and then decline a little bit because nothing goes up forever. But to give you some understanding around it, if we keep just the current pace, we'll have done approximately $146 million in sales with one product in one calendar year. $146 million on one product in 1 year. Now, if you ever watch Shark Tank, which I highly recommend for all of you that are on here, I highly recommend investing into watching Shark Tank. Shark Tank is an MBA in a video show, right? And on demand. It's an MBA on demand. No question about it. It's unbelievable what you can learn. But one of the things that they always ask on Shark Tank, the number one question is, what are your sales, right? What are your sales? You've had the company for 3 years, 5 years, for a year. What are your sales? I just want you to imagine for a moment the reaction that the sharks would have if somebody got on there and said, we launched our product 7 weeks ago and we've done $20 million in sales. What do you think the reaction of the sharks would be? Sid got it right. They'd probably fall out of their floor, or they'd probably fall out of their chair. They'd say, you don't necessarily need a shark, right? You're on here for publicity. It might be one of those episodes. They probably try and buy the company. They try and buy the whole thing somehow, some way, because those numbers are absolutely, positively unicorn level numbers. Those kinds of numbers don't really happen until once in a while they do. So the reason I asked you, what has Isagenix meant to you, is because I just wanted to get a feeling for where you were at in terms of your relationship to what this has been. But now I want you to start to ask a new question based on what I just shared with you. And I want you to answer whatever comes up for you. Free word association, don't overthink it. What could Isagenix mean for you? What could it mean for you? Drop in the chat box. What could it mean for you? Based on everything that you know, everything that you're learning. Okay, so the ability to work from home, financial abundance, quitting my job, freedom, it would mean leaving my job, it would mean everything, a massive life change, financial freedom, leaving corporate America, absolute freedom, paying off credit card debt, more time with your family, no more overnight travel, more choice, extra cash, giving abundantly, staying at home, living life on my own terms. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, And I just want you to be really, really honest with yourself. And I do want you to type this in the chat box if you're open to it. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, that'd be kind of cool if it happened, and 10 being, it's all I think about at night. I have a burning desire. I'm obsessed over that potential outcome. I cannot think or focus on anything else. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say you are right now in terms of how much you obsess over and desire the outcome that you just dropped in the chat box? Just being totally honest with yourself. And it's okay. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. An 8, a 7, a 6. Thank you for your honesty. A 7, a 9, a 3, a 6, a 5, but I want to be a 10. Thank you for that. A 5. Thank you for that. You can say whatever you want. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. There's no judgment from me. There's no expectation of what you should or shouldn't answer. This is not a trick question in any way, shape, or form. A 9, 7-ish. Okay. 4 out of 5. Just starting. So a 5 is for you is a big deal. Okay. Now, again, this isn't how much time are you committed to building your business. That's not the range. The range is to what degree do you feel that desire that you just wrote in the chat box burn inside of you? Okay, so we had a lot of different answers. What I want you to start cutting out every single day, just for 10 minutes a day, for the next 60 days even, or even 30 days would be great, is I want you to cut out 5 to 10 minutes a day, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to get connected to that desire feeling like a 10. And if you were able to feel that desire at a 10, what might you visualize happening in the future in your life? What are the images that you see? What are the people who are the people that are around you? What are the clothes that you're wearing? Where are you living? What kind of car are you driving? What kind of relationship are you in? What kind of business do you have? What kind of freedom are you experiencing? What kind of options do you have when it comes to challenging life situations that require quick money? And I want you to start to sit in this place of cultivating a visual and a vision of what it might be like to activate that desire in a real way. Because where we're at in this company now is a place where you can all, to varying degrees, channel your desires in an entirely new way than you've ever been capable of before, because the vehicle you have access to is 10 times the vehicle that you've ever had access to as a part of this company. And I'd be willing to bet you've probably never been presented with an opportunity in your life quite like this one. I'd be willing to bet, just based on the data. How many of you would agree with that? How many of you have a sense of deference, a sense of understanding, or some degree of a feeling that maybe this is the best opportunity I've ever been presented in my entire life? Just drop a yes in the chat box if that's you. And again, if it's not you and that hasn't landed for you yet, it's totally okay. No judgments whatsoever. Okay. So then, on a scale of 1 to 10, pura vida to Terry, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're being completely honest with yourself, with a 1 being not so much, and a 10 being 100%, unequivocally, unwavering, my action matches my desire. On a 1 to 10, how would you say that you've been showing up in your business thus far this year? On a 1 to 10. So 1 is, yeah, I could, there's room for growth. A 10 is, can't stop thinking about it. It's all that I talk about. It's in my soul. It's in my DNA. I can't shut up. I'm consistently marketing. I'm getting on all the calls. I'm applying the training system. I'm following the templates. I'm paying attention to duplication. I'm studying where I can. Okay, cool. And again, no right or wrong answer. It's just information. You can do whatever you want with it. So the question is, if I continue at my same level of focus, if I continue at my same level of output, if I continue at my same level on that 1 to 10 scale range in terms of how I'm actually projecting out my desire, where will I be in a year from today? So if I stay where I'm at, where will I be a year from today? If I increase where I'm at, where might I be a year from today? If I double down on where I'm at, where might I be a year from today? And the reason I keep coming back to desire is because, like Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, the starting point of all achievement begins with desire. Without desire, there's nothing. And so what I want you to start to really start to ask yourself the question of what do I see for myself? What could happen here? What could happen if I really stopped negotiating with my ego? Hear what I said? What would happen if I stopped negotiating with my ego? What would happen if I stopped negotiating with my ego? And the reason I've got to stop negotiating with my ego is because I know that my ego is never going to negotiate terms that are going to put me where I want to be in my life, are they? My ego will only ever negotiate terms that rationalize me thinking I'm making progress, but steadily and subtly, it's actually holding me back and declining my ability to perform. Am I willing to no longer be willing to negotiate with my ego? How many of you would agree that sometimes, more often than not, your ego wins out for any number of reasons? I know mine does from time to time. I've gotten a lot better at it because that's just years and years of practice. So what I really want for all of you so badly is I want you to be able to see what I see. And I want you to be able to see what Eden sees. And unfortunately, that's not possible. The only reason that we see what we see is because we've been here before. The only reason that we're in the position we are is because when we were here before, somebody said to us, hey, stop negotiating with your egos, clear out all of your distractions, stop rationalizing your patterns of sabotage, get obsessive about your desires, be a 10 out of 10 in every single category, and find a way to focus in greater ways than you've ever focused before because you're on a wave that is about to swell in a massive way. And we said, okay. And that's why when you have distractions that come up, and that's why when you have rationalizations come up for your patterns of sabotage, and that's why when you feel like, oh God, okay, well, I did 3 connections today. I know I could do 5, but that's why you've got to be willing to stretch that little bit extra. That's why you got to be willing to stretch, because there's got to be sense of the desire burning so deeply that you have a feeling that says, I'm not going to miss this wave. I'm not going to miss this. I'm not going to miss this. And here's the reality, because I've been in the game a long time. People are going to miss it. I just don't want any of you to be those people. I don't want anyone in our organization to be those people, even though it's going to happen. I just don't want you to be one of them. Because let me ask you a question. What are you doing here on a Sunday night? It's 8:30 on the East Coast. It's 5:30 on the West Coast. Like, if you're on the West Coast, there's beautiful weather. If you're on the East Coast, it's a lot easier to turn on a movie and cuddle up and turn on the fire. Or if you're in Colorado, anywhere other than California or Florida, obviously, where we got the good weather. But why? But think about it for a second. What's the point in investing your time on a Sunday night call if you're not going to put in the work on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday and a Friday and a Sunday? So here's what I know. You're here because that part of you, that desire says, hey, there's something waiting for me if I plug into these calls. But then what happens Monday morning? The ego starts to negotiate. The ego starts to negotiate, doesn't it? Well, okay. I mean, I know that I said I was going to work from 8 to 10, but my third cousin, they asked if I could, come over and bring them that blanket that, my grandma made for us like 25 years ago. And I guess now's a good time as any to do it. It's cold. I should bring her a blanket. Let me just rationalize my sabotage. Put a G in the chat box if you know you're guilty, just like I am, of allowing our egos to rationalize things that have absolutely nothing to do with what we're on purpose about, absolutely nothing to do with what we say we're focused on, absolutely nothing to do with where we say we want to go in life. And yet here comes that little voice that makes it okay. And I really want to get you all stuck in on no longer allowing it to the best of your ability, because again, it's practice, allowing it to be okay. Allowing those patterns of sabotage to be okay. because if your desire is deep enough, I promise you, if your desire is deep enough, your desire will illuminate the patterns of sabotage. Your desire will illuminate the distractions. Your desire will illuminate the toxic relationships that you got to work away from. Your desire will illuminate how much your ego has been dominating. And when it gets illuminated, then what do we have? We have power. And why do we have power? Because now we have the power of choice. Now we're no longer ignorant to it. Now we're not just operating through a program or an unconscious way of living and being and thinking and operating. We start to take control of our emotions. And we start to take control of our emotions, and we learn how to observe them and process them and handle them. Guess what starts to happen? We create space. And what happens when you create space? You fill that space, but you fill that space with things that are in alignment with that burning desire, that core desired feeling, that emotion that says, I'm willing to create space for me to now move into. Now, I know that I'm all over the place right now, and I know that I'm rambling, and I know that it's a tangent. So I just want to check in with you. How many of you are tracking with me right now? Okay, cool. 2 of you, that's great. So I'll start to wrap up on this. Some people start the year with a word for the year. Maybe you're one of those people. If you are one of those people, I'm going to add a word to whatever word you've already selected for yourself. If you're not one of those people, I'm going to offer a word that you can choose to take ownership of or not. There is a swell of abundance and prosperity and things that you cannot consciously comprehend right now, swirling within this company right now. Swirling. And abundance means enough for all. More than enough for all. That's what abundance means. There's more than enough. However, if you're not available to receive what's there, it'll just kind of go around you. So the word I want to offer you to take on and take ownership of for, could be 30 days, could be 60 days, you could add it on to your year-long word, is space. What areas of my life am I willing to create space so that I can welcome in abundance? What are the relationships I get to create some space within? What are the habits I get to create some space from? What are the conversations that I get to create some space away from? What are some of the conversations I get to create space to move into? What are the things that I can eliminate from my day-to-day calendar that really I don't need to be doing on the day-to-day so that I can create a little bit of space? Because if you were anything less than an 8 on those 1 to 10 ranges, my argument would be that you just don't have enough space mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or intellectually to even absorb what's possible with what's in front of you right now. And if you can't absorb it, and if you can't think about it, why in the world would you go to work on it? So what are the parts of your mind, what are the parts of your world that are taking up space, that are denying you the reception of what is literally swirling around you and asking for you to just reach out and grab? Because that's what this is like. This is like, and this is not to be hypey, this is just reality. This is just business. Just look at the numbers. This is like getting put in one of those little phone booth machines where they put a bunch of dollars at the bottom of it, and then they turn on the air, and right, and you just try and grab as much money as you can. Well, attracting abundance in your life kind of works the same way. The universe says, here's all this money floating around you. Isagenix is saying, here's all this money floating around you. Are you open to receiving it? And the only way that the universe or God or whatever it is that you're tapping into knows that you're available for receiving it is if it's very clear that there is space for receptivity. How many of you, as I'm talking about creating space, just drop an M for me in the chat box. How many of you immediately know what I'm talking about in your life? I don't know what it is for you, but how many of you know what it is for you? The thing where you get to create some space. Some things where you get to create some space. Maybe you get to create some space from some of your hobbies that take up a lot of your time, even though you're deeply passionate about them for 60 days. I don't know. I don't know. So you know what Isagenix has meant to you. I really want you to get in touch with what Isagenix could mean for you. Spend 5 to 10 minutes a day just visualizing that burning desire coming to life, coming to fruition, and allow that burning desire to dictate every decision that you make for the foreseeable future. And if you're willing to do that, space will get created and that space will get filled. So anyways, thanks for plugging in tonight, sending lots of love. Hope you guys have a great evening and we'll see you soon. I'll post on the team page, what did you learn? If you learned anything, feel free to comment. If you didn't, please don't, it'll devastate my feelings. See y'all guys later. Bye.